Tracy Harwood. So I've done a little bit of digging around and I've discovered.
Ricky Grove. Fog comes in on little cat feet.
Phil Rice. This is the best film that I've seen all year and maybe ever.
Damien Valentine. Use the machinima, Luke.
Hello and welcome to And Now for Something Completely Machinima, the podcast / YouTube show about machinima, virtual production, and related technologies. I'm Phil Rice, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Damien Valentine, Ricky Grove, and Tracy Harwood.
Hello there.
Hey there. So today we're going to focus on Tracy's pick for the week. This is I'll be honest. After watching this, I don't know exactly how it was made. I want to say some advanced tool, like I'm going to guess maybe Cinema 4D or Blender, one of those two. But it has a machinima feel for sure. It's a blend of World of Warcraft and elements of Cyberpunk 2077, which we've seen mixes of that before, but I don't think we've ever seen it executed to this level. This is an amazing pick. Tracy, tell us about it.
Absolutely. Well, I loved this when I saw it. It's called Neo Stormwind, Wow Machinima, and it's by Duran, and it was released in August. And Duran is a French machinima filmmaker. And basically what he's done is he's used assets from World of Warcraft. I think he said Heroes of the Storm, which is another Blizzard game, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and Cyberpunk 2077. And so far as I understand it, it's been made using the WoW model viewer and export tools with Cinema 4D, After Effects, Premiere Pro, Topaz, Gigapixel, and Shader Map. Looks a pretty detailed process to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
But basically, I kind of love this combination of Cyberpunk and World of Warcraft. They just seem so complementary.
Yeah.
Stormwind is basically a human city in World of Warcraft, and it's the capital of Azeroth. I guess you guys would already know that. I had to check that out. But this has been very much integrated into the cyberpunk world, such that you almost don't know what's World of Warcraft and what's Cyberpunk. It's really great kind of work on that combination front. I think basically what's going on here is the story is centering on this character and these upgrades in a cyberpunk kind of way, and it includes this. Well, basically, they're including robotic hardware, which just kind of lifts it a little bit further. And in that general description, the film is supposedly about the two WoW factions just trying to live together, the Horde and the Alliance. I don't think I really got too much of a sense of the human versus, do they call them elves, as such, versus just gangs, especially superbike gangs, kind of like, I don't know, New Yorkish, or maybe Mad Max-ish, say from beyond sort of Thunderdome. just sort of traces of that, I think, plus all these kind of neo lights in the cityscape. The soundscape I thought was amazing, and just really takes this into another dimension. It's kind of part music, which is a cover version of Insomnia by Two-Way, I think, with very little voice acting used, really just giving it a flavor of what's going on rather than any kind of narrative, and then just part city life sounds. So, you know, you hear the motorbike revving and the general kind of crowd noise, for example. And it's really the balance of these sounds that I think just creates this cacophony and this sense of being in this, you know, these characters being in this sort of cyberpunk world. It's really a kind of, I don't know, a moving image, urban photography kind of piece. And we've seen those sorts of pieces before this year, which I think are quite fascinating. But it's also about the creation of this kind of superior robot, which also reminded me a little bit of Robocop. I don't know what you guys thought about that kind of robot creation sort of scene, although this one seems to be a bit more of an anti-hero than a hero, so to speak. And then right at the end, I was super intrigued to see that our old friend Olibeth was being credited in this, particularly his series called Never Stay Tuned. And you know what? I was inspired to go and watch or rewatch that first episode of his series, and it's basically World of Warcraft Machinima Gold. It's hilarious commentary, reflecting and commenting on popular culture within World of Warcraft. So I'll put a link up to that too, so you can kind of
Great.
that. And then the other one that he's crediting is also is somebody called IK Edit or 1K Edit, and the work there is Secrets of Ulduar, which is basically this cinematic of World of Warcraft, which has actually recently been remastered. So I'll share that link with you too. And both of those seem to be fantastic cultural references to the way that this has been created. And I love the way, you only really see the French do this, don't you, in such detail. They sort of clearly credit where their inspiration has come from, and I love that Duran has done that. And it's not really, I think, the story of Neo or new Stormwind that he's taken, but the desire, I think, to do something original with craft, maybe Warcraft, that actually I think is something that he's taken from these two that have inspired him. And I think he's achieved what he set out to do. It's really interesting, so much detail to it. I don't think we've seen anything quite like this certainly from the World of Warcraft community I'd say for a really long time, if ever. But I loved it. What did you guys think?
Well, in my notes, excuse me one second. In my notes, I wrote, "Holy smokes, what a great film!"
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I like the mashup of World of Warcraft, but projecting it into this sort of cyberpunk future, and it kind of shows the different factions from the game, but now crowded together in this sort of futuristic city. And I really like the biker gangs and the cybernetic parts of it. There's some sound elements I noticed that were taken from both Blade Runner films, and
Yes.
yeah, like the was it the Join Now for Off-World Adventures? That sound bite that's from the original film. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but you know what it is. You
it was the advertising voice.
Yeah,
right.
And there's it's kind of an engine noise. It's kind of like a plane, but it's not quite. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's near the beginning of the film. That's from the second Blade Runner film. They use it again at the end when the flying car goes through the city.
Yes.
Of this video. And you got that reference of the pink elf pointing at the character. That's again from
that was so well done.
Yeah,
that's my favorite scene in the movie there. That was just really a nice little cameo.
Yeah, I'm glad that they did those references to Blade Runner, but I thought that the way that they mashed up these two, fantasy world and the cyberpunk world, and even though they got these Blade Runner references, it feels more like the Cyberpunk 2077 because it's really in your face, bright lights everywhere, and the people have got the cybernetic implants that are very visible. And obviously there's a fan of both games, and he's decided, well, let's put them together and see what happens. And I think what happened was something really good and entertaining. It's not really a huge story to follow. It's just kind of a snapshot of different aspects of this world that he's kind of put together. And I kind of hope he does do a little bit more, because I'm intrigued. I want to see more of this. So that's what I had to say. It was a great pick.
I loved it.
I think. Go ahead, Ricky.
Okay, I loved it. I wrote that. I wrote here. I said I can only imagine what original World of Warcraft machinima filmmakers would think of this fast edited, visceral little gem. Just the wow factor is so high, and I agree with you, Tracy. The sound, music, editing is just absolutely superb. It really kicks the quality of the story and the world making up into another level. Just remarkable short film. Perhaps a little too fast for old brains like mine to follow, maybe. But then again, I think younger folks would say, you're an old fart. It's perfectly timed. But I love that. And I think he's great. And he did a wonderful job of putting it all together, and hearing that he used so many different tools makes sense. It's well edited. It's smart. It refers to other things. It's ironic. It's funny at times. It's got there's a look. I don't know how you put cute and grotesque together in the same film. It's remarkable. It's a fantastic pick.
Yeah, I think this one definitely falls into a category that we've discussed several times in the past, where a film that's not emphasizing narrative, but it's coming across, it's evoking a feeling. It's poetry, or it's a painting of sorts. And this, for me, firmly falls into that category of that. I wasn't even looking for narrative in this. I don't know why. I guess I kind of approached it with, well, if it comes out to me, I'll follow it, but it didn't, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Because it was more about, this is an experience, not a story. And the film seems to know that about itself. That's why it works. When someone's trying to tell a story and it comes off as a cacophony, as we said, it's not so good, right? But this was deliberate and masterfully done. The crispness of those scenes when he's panning across the street and there's all this activity going on, the crispness of the visuals was just astonishing.
Yeah.
That's the point where I thought, okay, this is not just there's some advanced toolery going on here, right? I knew it had to be. Honestly, I was really leaning towards Cinema 4D, but I thought, well, maybe Blender, but it's just so crisp, and everything fit together. So if he was doing compositing, if the filmmaker was doing compositing, I certainly did not detect it. And that means some great color correction was going on. But I think a lot of this was ultimately rendered in the platform, because it fits too well. The lighting is falling everywhere it needs to perfectly. So yeah, and the sound was just magnificent. It was a little overwhelming, but I think that was the point. And there's game footage. I've not played, believe it or not, I've not played Cyberpunk 2077. I don't own the game, but I've watched a lot of footage of it. And when it's just footage of someone going down a busy street there, that's the feel you get, is a sense of, okay, this is like Blade Runner with about 5 million more people living in the city, like it's just constant. This city never sleeps. Just constant stuff is happening, noises, and the fact that so many people are modified with, biomods and machinery and whatnot, just adds all these other types of sounds that you wouldn't normally hear walking down the middle of LA or something.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. So to me, this film is, for lack of a better word, successful in every way. Like I think the aim that this set out to do, it achieved it like big time. It's just wonderful. And yeah, my favorite scene is that the pink giant pink lady. It was framed exactly like the original.
Yeah.
I used a clip from that, from the real one. I used a clip from that in one of those Master Toots episodes months back, and so I got a little familiar with the scene, and yeah, it's just perfectly done. So
you remember the old MTV series called Liquid Television?
Oh, absolutely.
This would fit
This would
perfectly
fall
into
right
that,
in that. Absolutely.
that collection.
Yes.
It's a great stoners film.
Brilliant. Yeah.
All right. Well, great pick, Tracy. Do we have any news or anything that we'd like to mention today, or did we cover all that last week?
I covered most of mine last week.
Okay.
I'll add my news by being dramatic.
Okay.
Unity. That's it.
Well, thanks for joining us. It's been our pleasure to discuss this craft that we all love, and we hope you've enjoyed it too. We'd love to get your feedback. Leave us a comment on the video or drop us a message through our website, completelymachinima.com, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.